In the last episode of the Southampton Career Mode, we replicated the club's transfer signings and brought in Diallo on a $5 million deal. We made good progress in the FA Cup, but we're no match for Manchester United and Martial. Our squad saw good growth over the course of the season and achieved a mid-table finish. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Flick here. Welcome back to another episode of our FIFA 21 Southampton Career Mode. This is episode number 3, where we'll begin our second season with the Saints and try to build from last year's mid-table finish. But with the new season comes new board objectives, most of which look very similar to last year. The Youth Academy is obviously going to be a big emphasis for us alongside our league performance. But to recap some of your comments from the last episode, there were a few suggestions saying that we should send out some of our younger players on loan. I have been attempting to do so, but I found it extremely difficult for this FIFA to have your younger players go out on loan without the option for the loan club to purchase them. I'm not against using the loan to buy feature, but if I do want to go down that route, I want to receive a good amount, assuming that the player does perform at a good level, like some of our players have done out on loan. For example, Angus Gunn went up 3 or 4 ratings over the course of just half a season. I really do hope that a career mode update does come out at some point addressing this, because it is impacting this save. But in the meantime, I'll continue to seek out other loan opportunities so that all of our players can receive playtime. There have been rumors that we'll let one of our Youth Academy players inherit the famous number 7 that so many notable Southampton players have worn, including the likes of Matt Letizia, Ricky Lambert, and currently Shane Long. This ties in perfectly with our Southampton fact of the episode, and that's Letizia and Lambert are 2 of Southampton's leading goal scorers with 110 and 115 goals respectively. This means that in order for one of our Youth Academy players to inherit that number 7, they need to be contributing goals to our first team. It's not something that we're just going to gift to a high potential Youth Academy player. They need to earn it. I do appreciate all of you that have been tuning into this series and leaving press conference questions. In general, the support in FIFA 21 and this Southampton Career Mode has been incredible. Let's try to keep it going in today's episode. If you're enjoying the series, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on future content. Looking through our current first team starting 11, I think our squad is in very good shape. There are really no problem areas per se that we need to improve on right away. More so, I'm trying to make gradual improvements so that we can continue to make progress in the league and hopefully qualify for Europa League at the end of the season. 3 different players have joined the club again now that their loan spell has ended, Gunn being the most significant one. I mentioned earlier that he saw a big increase to his overall. He went from a 74 overall at the start of this career mode to now he's at a 77. That goes to show how important match time is in FIFA 21 career mode, and it looks like Augsburg were using him plenty. That leaves us with a bit of a predicament for our goalkeepers. McCarthy was solid last season. He stayed at a 77 rating throughout the first year, but he's not getting any younger. He probably won't increase in his overall rating, and I think long term we will need to replace him eventually. I think my plan is to slowly incorporate Gunn into the squad, maybe through some cup matches, see how he plays in game, and if we fare well with him, then he will become our new first choice goalkeeper. Elyounoussi has also rejoined us from Celtic, and he's an interesting player because he offers a more creative role with the 4-star weak foot, 4-star skill move combo. However, I don't think he will make it into our starting 11 because Gineppo has impressed me enough and has seen enough growth in his overall rating that I'm comfortable starting him at the right mid position, which is where I probably would play Elyounoussi. Lamina is another quality player that has rejoined us from his loan spell at Fulham. Unfortunately, we've brought in so many center midfielders into the squad that I think he has lost his place in the starting 11 and substitutes, so we might have to part ways with him. But keeping all that in mind, my primary objective for this summer transfer window is to sign a new left back into the team. Bertrand is one of, if not the oldest player in our starting 11. He's only going to keep declining in his rating, and we need to bring in someone new. That doesn't necessarily mean that the new signing needs to replace Bertrand right away, but by the time January rolls around, I do want our new signing to be our new first choice left back. I would also like to sign a younger player that can play across multiple positions to offer more squad depth, particularly on the wing for Gineppo and Redmond, just in case injuries happen or we have some fixture congestion between our league and cup matches this year and hopefully continental matches in future seasons. But in the meantime, we'll continue to work on our development plans for our current squad, starting with Gineppo. He has successfully completed the wide playmaker training, and now he's up to 5-star skills. This is one of those things where you just set it and forget it. I only wanted him to get to 4-star skills, but the next time I checked, he already had 5-star skills. So we'll be changing him to the inverted wide midfielder. That'll boost his weak foot, and that'll probably get to 5-star soon enough as well. It's more or less the same thing for Smallbone. We worked on the central midfield development plan. That got him up to 5-star skills, and now we're going to be working on the playmaker development plan to boost his weak foot. But transitioning to the transfers, we have a generous amount to work with in our budget, 56.5 million for the transfer budget, 268,000 for the wages. Our first marquee signing of the summer will be a young English left back from the championship playing for Bristol City, Jay Da Silva. I really like the look of this player. He has high medium work rates, which means he should be able to contribute to some attacking runs, which is definitely the case if we decide to move forward with our 4-4-2 formation to provide some extra support for our midfielders. Considering that Da Silva is an English player moving to another English club, I think the transfer fee was a little bit higher than I like to spend for most transfers, but still not bad at all considering the quality of player he is. We signed him for 12.1 million. And as far as the contract and wages go, he's going to be a rotational player signing to a 5-year deal on 30 grand a week. Reece Nelson will feature next, and as far as career mode is concerned, he's definitely considered to be one of the more high potential players and someone that has a lot of hype around him. Arsenal have been looking to loan him out to other clubs, and unfortunately that couldn't happen in this career mode. Otherwise, I probably would have gone along the lines of a loan to buy route. But since that option is not available to us, we signed him on an 8.5 million transfer as a rotational player to a 5-year deal worth 35 grand a week. Y'all will have to let me know your thoughts on this final transfer, but I think this is a fantastic bit of business. We're going to utilize player swaps and swap Elionussi back to the club he just returned on loan from and sign Christopher Ayer. Of course, Southampton have a history of signing promising players from Celtic, Virgil van Dijk being another defender that went on to have a very promising career, as you all know. Ultimately, this signing is going to give us the squad depth that we need at the center back position, and I think Ayer fits my playstyle very well. His contract was again very similar to the last few that we've done, a rotational player to a 5-year deal on 25 grand a week. As I usually like to do at the start of every season, I search for any promising free agents and regens. There were a couple of notable players that retired in season 1, including the likes of Fernandinho, Ibrahimovic, and Pepe. But I'm not too keen on signing their regens right away. However, I will keep track of any older former Southampton players like Theo Walcott and Gareth Bale that are starting to get up there in age, so that once they do retire, we can sign their regen. But there were a total of 3 players that left the club in this summer transfer window. Forster to Fenerbahce for 1.65 million. I was very happy to have received Vestergaard's market value of 9 million from Roma, and Lamina left for Villarreal for 11.5 million. But as promised, our youth academy scouting for this second season is going to try to find players that Southampton are known for. Our English scout being sent within England for 6 months, but realistically for the whole season, for a technically gifted player. Ideally, I'd like to find the next Matt Letizier. Our other scout will be sent to Wales looking for a winger. As you might guess, we're trying to find the next Gareth Bale. I think that covers everything we need to recap for the start of this second season. Let's get into some matches, see how our new squad and signings perform, and whether we can improve on last season's finish. Our first match of the season is against Nottingham Forest, who alongside Watford and Cardiff City were promoted from the championship. It's clear that both sides have ambitions for this Premier League campaign. We're looking to do better than our mid-table finish last year, whereas Nottingham Forest are just trying to stay up in the Premier League. And I found that newly promoted sides are actually quite difficult to play against in career mode. They're a bit pesky to break down. A lot of them are very defensive with their tactics, and they like to counterattack, just like Nottingham Forest do here, getting the first goal of the match and their Premier League season, courtesy of a near post effort. In all honesty, I think McCarthy should have done better here. But it didn't take long for us to get back to our goal scoring ways, as Ward-Prowse, Gineppo, Ings, and Adams will link up nicely. Adams with the eventual near post effort. The keeper rooted to the spot. And it's nice to see that Adams is scoring some goals this year. I've opted to go with the 4-4-2 formation and showing some confidence in him. It's a fine line that we need to balance. We definitely have more squad depth in our midfield, but the potential for us to score goals just goes up exponentially when we use this 2-striker formation. It was shown when we played Burnley last year. I think we netted 6 goals in that match, and it's going to be Adams again here as he manages to land that chip shot right over the keeper, giving us the 2-1 lead. And I'm not sure the Adams we saw from season 1 would have been able to pull off this effort. But it wasn't just our attack that discovered this newfound confidence. Our defense held strong for the majority of this match. McCarthy with a good near post save there to deny the striker's second goal in the match. And then Adams linking up with Redmond, looking to square this across. It was extremely effective for us last year, but saved well by the Nottingham Forest keeper. And this is just an unfortunate sequence of play. You see, we managed to get it cleared a couple times, but not fully. And unfortunately, this effort will eventually go in on McCarthy's far post. I'm not sure there's a whole lot he could have done about that. We should have just done better defensively to not even give Nottingham Forest that opportunity. But if you'll recall our first Premier League match day from season 1, we had that thriller against Leicester, which saw a 90th minute winner. And we might be able to do it again here. As we get the ball forward, eventually it's going to be Obafemi and Adams linking up. And it is Adams to score his hat trick in our first Premier League match of season 2. Proving to be a hat-trick hero for us and a fully capable striker along with Ings. I'm glad we decided to give him more chances toward the end of last year and eventually switch back to this 4-4-2 formation. And we'll begin our Premier League campaign for this season with all 3 points. This episode is going to be full of different storylines. Adams had the hat-trick in our first match, and now we're going to see a matchup between two brothers, Ibrahima Diallo for us at Southampton and Abdou Diallo, the new signing for Newcastle. He did make the transfer from PSG, and he looks to be a quality center back. Newcastle have gone and built a pretty formidable side as they have experience in the midfield alongside some very promising wingers, including Saint Maximin, who gets denied here via McCarthy save on the near post. But on the ensuing corner kick, we're going to see an interesting tactic here as Newcastle flick the ball across, eventually over to Martinez, who will finish that chance for them, making it 1-0 early on in the match, and it was going to be an uphill battle for us from here. You have to wonder what Walker Peters was doing on the near post, as McCarthy didn't get much help. It took a while for us to get things going, but as we enter the second half, we'll see a nice spark of creativity from Adams. The back heel to Ings was set up perfectly, leading him into some space, and all he had to do from there was finish. And we know from last season how clinical Ings can be inside the 18. But we're going to see the opposite of our first goal as Ings plays this through to Adams, who will finish that chance so well on the near post. I was not expecting a goal to be scored from it, more or less just hoping the ball would rebound back to one of our players or we can get a set piece, but we'll absolutely take that. As again, it's Newcastle in the 74th minute. We defend it fairly well, but we're not great about distributing the ball forward to our midfielders, trying to do too much with our defenders. And again, it's McCarthy letting in near post efforts. I'm not sure if it's him or if it's goalkeepers in general in FIFA 21, because these are efforts that should not be finding the back of the net. We can't have repeats of this over the course of the season. The difference between 1 point and 3 points is a big reason why we finished mid-table and not higher up. So we'll need to find a way to turn things around moving forward. In an effort to potentially stop the influx of near post efforts and us drawing matches, I decided to give Gunn the nod for this match against Wolves. At this point in time, he's roughly the same rating as McCarthy, so why not give him a chance and let him prove himself? It was almost as if the squad was rallying around Gunn, knowing the importance of scoring the first goal and how it might impact the tempo of the match. We'll see some nice link-up play between Ward-Prowse and Ings. It's like Ings and Adams are just switching off who scores the goals for us in matches, which is not a bad problem to have by any means, as Adams will actually get involved here with a nice stop and turn, getting it on his weaker left foot, but it was blocked fairly well by the Wolves defender. As we enter first half stoppage time, Wolves will get a chance. A good example of competitor mode at play. Some skill moves from the Wolves attacker, but saved extremely well by Gunn on the near post. That's the kind of save he needed. Goalkeepers in FIFA are always going to be an interesting discussion. Someone that works for one player might not work for another just based off of their play styles, but this is probably the softest penalty call that we'll see all season, as Ward-Prowse was barely touched, but we'll take the penalty, and Ings converts it well. Green times it despite Patricio guessing the right way, and that'll put us 2-0 ahead. Wolves had to start pouring forward players at this point, and that ended up being a costly mistake for them, as Obafemi squares this across to Nandez, our box-to-box center midfielder, finally netting a goal that might actually be his first for Southampton. Not known for his finishing ability, but he does it there. We'll have a chance to make it 4 as Obafemi is again played through. He's proving to be a very high impact substitute player, and I can't wait to see what his stats will look like once he reaches the peak of his potential. He's still a young striker after all, So once Danny Ings or Adam starts declining in their stats, I think Obafemi could definitely take over. We should have probably conceded a goal here, but again, it was almost meant to be for Gunn to hold on to a clean sheet. That's going to give him a lot of confidence moving forward. While it appears that we have a clear direction, we want to take the squad in the Premier League, we will turn our focus now to the Carabao Cup, where we've managed to achieve another strong run, beating Stoke City 4-3 in the third round and Sheffield Wednesday 3-1 in the fourth round. Our quarterfinal matchup this season will be much easier than last year's Manchester City match, as we have Reading to play. But I won't be taking Reading lightly. We still will be using our rotated squad consisting of a lot of our youth academy players. This will also be a debut match for Freddie Franklin, our youth academy goalkeeper that we signed up last year. I do want to give him the occasional start so that his sharpness and morale stays at a decent rate. If we learned anything from last season, it's that switching to a new defense is no easy task. You get used to defending a certain way with particular players, and then when you try something new with a new set of players, it ends up costing you in some situations. Like it did here, I just was not able to take the ball away, and unfortunately for our defense and Franklin, he's going to have a rough go at things, going 1-0 down just 10 minutes in. Our attack, on the other hand, is a different story. We rotate them into the substitutes and our first team often enough that I know how they can play best in game. And what a goal that is from Obafemi. I was just talking about him and how good of an impact sub he is, but clearly he's ready for the occasional start as well, because this is potentially one of the best goals that we've scored in this Southampton Career Mode. The angle on this shot was very narrow, but he took it so well. We haven't seen too many highlights from Reece Nelson so far, despite getting featured fairly often as a substitute, but he'll get an opportunity here. I feel like I still need to adjust to his play style and how he dribbles, because we took one too many dribbles there and it was saved pretty easily by the goalkeeper. Again, a case where I overestimated where the attackers are going to go, and we'll concede another goal, making it 2-1 in the 26th minute. And there will be another chance for us as we move forward to the second half. Great ball played through to Redmond, who we had to bring on as an impact sub. I'm trying to make as good of a run as I can in the Carabao Cup. Ward-Prowse gets taken down. I thought that might have been a penalty, but he gets right back up, and he's going to make the perfect run to get us the equalizer. Ward-Prowse exemplifies what Southampton stands for, and we can always count on him to get a goal for us. Pretty much all of the remaining attacking highlights went to us. Reading were just trying to soak up as much pressure as possible without conceding a goal. We nearly get the go-ahead goal there, courtesy of Obafemi, but it's a good save from the Reading goalkeeper, who denied a few chances from us, including this one from Smallbone. He tried getting it on his 5-star weak foot and finesse it to the far post, but unfortunately saved well. At the end of the 90 minutes, we will advance straight to penalties. No extra time to be played. This is how we will line up. Luckily, we were able to make some tactical substitutions and bring some of the players that have higher penalty kick stats into the lineup. Penalty kick shootouts are pretty intense to take part in real time, but for the sake of the video, I have sped it up to a ×3 speed just to move things along a little bit quicker. Basically, us and Reading were like to like on these shootouts, both bearing the chances up until this fourth goal as we try going down the middle and the keeper remains rooted to the spot. This is going to be a deciding penalty kick. Freddie Franklin needs to make a save here if he wants to keep our hopes in the Carabao Cup alive, and he guessed the right way, but somehow the ball still found the back of the net, and Reading will be advancing to the semi-finals. A big moment for them, but a disappointing one for us. Although we suffered some heartbreak in the Carabao Cup, I am extremely happy with how we're performing in the Premier League, currently in 9th place with 29 points from 21 matches. We are well within reach of Leicester City for a top 6 finish, just 7 points behind them. Ultimately, that is going to be the goal for us for the second half of the season as we try to qualify for Europe. Looks like Liverpool, Spurs, and Manchester City are leading the way in the Premier League, as they are all within 49, 48, and 46 points. For the bottom half of the table, we have a couple of teams struggling, but all things considered, not that bad of a performance from the likes of Fulham, Burnley, and Cardiff City. They might be able to see their season turn around. Ings was by far our top goal scorer for season 1, but it looks like we might have a new top player in season 2, as Adams currently has 12 goals from 25 appearances, 3 less appearances than Ings, but 5 more goals. Very good stuff from him. Ward-Prowse doing the business as he usually does with 9 goals from 29 matches, and then Danny Ings in the 3rd place spot with 7 goals from 28. Transitioning to the assist category, we'll take a look and see who is setting up all these chances, and it looks like Ings has actually changed from a goal scorer to a goal assister as he leads the way with 6 assists from 28 matches. Ward-Prowse in second with 5 from 29. And then our homegrown player, Dexter Newton, in third with 4 assists from just 5 appearances. I'm going to have to start him more in the second half of the season. You can disregard our player fitness. We just played a ton of matches consecutively, but I am very happy with how our squad is looking for the second half of season 2. You'll notice a lot more players are now into the 80s for their rating. That's kind of a milestone point for career modes, and it's good to see that we are progressing nicely. And I think that's going to wrap things up for this episode of the Southampton Career Mode. If you think there are any areas that we need to improve this squad, feel free to leave some transfer suggestions in the comments section below. You still have quite a bit of funds to work with. But if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.